All right, running backs. What do you got?
Running back's another one where, kind of like the cornerback class, where they all really solidified that, hey, this is a special class, that we are all good prospects here. And so Jahmyr Gibbs going 4.36, I thought was great for his draft stock. That is
Wasn't he being talked about as a guy that could get into the 4.2s? Or am I making that up?
Maybe he's, I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Because anyone that Jalen Reagor was claiming he could get in the 4.2s.
True.
And ran like a 4.4 or something. So I'm not going to put it past him, but I never saw it on tape. While the two guys I had pegged to maybe get in the 4.2s was A-Chain and then Keaton Mitchell. Both go in the 4.3s. They're both, speed is obvious for both those guys. But Gibbs, I thought, really helped himself. I thought Chase Brown helped himself. 4.3, the explosive, 40-inch vert, 10.7 broad. Those are great numbers. And I thought Zach Charbonnet was the other one that, with speed question marks, to go 4.53 is a really good time for him. And then to have 37-inch vertical and 10.2 broad, like he is pretty much everything you saw on tape, you can feel good about translating out to the NFL.
So running back, running back for me is one of the positions where I'm almost not more interested, but I get the most, I think, out of the actual position drills that they do during the game versus the 40, the vert, and all that kind of thing. So I don't really want to put Bijan as a winner because, truth be told, I would have liked to see a slightly faster 40, all those kind of things. But he operated on a completely different plane of just smooth moving to anybody else that was there that day. Like, it's so visible. The comp I keep coming back to for him, I had a Christian McCaffrey one at one point. Christian McCaffrey led me to Priest Holmes because I comped those two guys together when they were coming out. But actually, I'm starting to settle on LaDainian Tomlinson the more I watch of Bijan. Like, just a guy who embodies – it's almost like if you were designing a running back to operate with, like, 100% textbook technique and everything.
Yeah.
That's who you end up with. And LaDainian Tomlinson was that guy when he played, and now Bijan Robinson is that guy. Like, he's just so good and smooth at everything, and it was so visible when they did the drills. Like, these other guys, so it's like crazy movement and like it's erratic. They're just about hanging in control. Everything he does is with 100% control and zero effort.
I know you're not supposed to comp to Hall of Famers. Like, that's a easy way to get clowned, but LT was a prospect like this when he was coming. LT was probably the next Marshall Faulk or whatever.
Right.
Like the Bijan, to say that, like there is a lot of similarities. And when you're that caliber of prospect, that how Bijan's being talked about, I think you can go to that level and it not be ridiculous. You can go to the Hall of Fame level.
I mean, he's already being talked about as the best prospect since Adrian Peterson or whatever. So that's already going back like 15 years. You might as well go the whole hog and say, well, stylistically, he looks a lot like LT.
Yeah,
if he's that good and he looks a lot like LT, we're already talking about something pretty special.
I agree.
So this one, I'll be interested to get your take on. So 100% recency bias here, but I've decided that there is something to running backs in particular that move with a certain level of reckless abandon and violence to their game. And I think that's why Isaiah Pacheco was successful this year. Like, he runs, like, every single carry is the last play he's going to get in the NFL, and you better use it up now because it's gone from here on in. And I think there's a certain degree to which that just has success. If you're a good enough athlete and you're going to play at this level anyway, if you then show up wanting it more than everyone else and just prepared to physically batter people that just want to make a damn tackle, you're going to bust through some gaps and you're going to make some plays. Daenerys Prince from Tulsa, everything he did yesterday was like that. The dude just ran with this sort of violence to him. And I'm like, all right, the PFF grade isn't great. The stats aren't amazing. I've just decided that's going to play. I just watched it play, so I've decided now that it's going to play for him too.
I will say this. There is a distinct difference about how running backs break tackles at the collegiate level versus how they break tackles in the NFL. You will see a lot of guys make defenders actually miss in college. Like, miss altogether, get one hand on you, whatever. The amount of times that happens in the NFL is so rare that it's almost not even worth, like, you touting that skill, especially at running back, when, probably 95% of your carries, you're just not out in space with a one-on-one there. You could make a guy miss. Like, it's a rarity to do. And so a lot of tackle breaking in the NFL has to come via actual contact. Like, you're getting contacted, you have to play through that contact, and you have to be able to run through it. So running hard, and the way you break tackles, like Jonathan Taylor wasn't really noted for his tackle breaking at Wisconsin, but he breaks tackles the way you have to break tackles in the NFL, which is one cut, explode, guy hits your thighs, and it doesn't matter. That's like kind of how you have to do it. You can't just make guys miss altogether. You can't just be this shifty guy out in space who's going to juke guys. Now, there are some that can survive on that, but it's a far, far rarer occasion than the Pacheco's of the world, who maybe he's not elusive, maybe he's not going to make you miss, but he's going to put his nose down and run through a lot more tackles than your run-of-the-mill, 215-pounder who runs a little more timidly.
Is that an endorsement or?
That's an endorsement. Okay. Yeah, that was a long way of
You're
saying
on board. You're on board.
Yeah.
All right. One other winner I had. This is. See if you like this one. Evan Hull from Northwestern.
Yeah.
And the reason why, every rep that he had, including the 40-yard dashes, he took to the house. He finished in the end zone. So whatever the rep was, wherever it was supposed to end, he ran it all the way through the end zone. And I bet there is an NFL team out there that loves that. Loves that. That's like, that's competitiveness. That's what we want. That level of going above and beyond. Get that guy in the building this second. I don't care if he can play football. That's the kind of attitude we want in this building.
Yeah, feels like a Patriot.
I guarantee that like secured him a draft spot from somebody.
I mean, I bet he gets drafted, though. He looked good at the Senior Bowl and looked good on the field drills, too.
Okay. And then the other guy I thought that stood out, again, just from the sort of movement drills, Tajay Spears from Tulane. Like he just looked smooth again, like almost like a Bijan light, where everything just looked easy for him.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tajay Spears. I think he's top 100 back. And if you're top 100 back in the PFF board,
right, PFF,
you're a pretty good back. Last year, I think there was only 3. It was obviously Walker and Brees, and then Dameon Pierce. So if you're top 100 back, that's a stamp of approval that you should be starting in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't happen easy with the with PFF.